Do I sound like a mobster? I don't mean to sound like a mobster. I have MySpace. I've been handling this for a minute, and sometimes you just have to be heard. Hey there. Welcome from the depths of quarantine. This is Cashmere, and this is Cashmere Thoughts. If it's the first time you've seen me here, take a look, press like, subscribe. There's more here. It's crazy. It's so fun. There's so much. Enjoy. Peruse. Right now, it's about 6 o'clock in the afternoon in sunny California. I say sunny, not that it matters, because we haven't seen the sun. But it's all right. Introvert to introvert, you might not be one, but I am. I'm doing okay, but I am watching the people around me crumble. And it's stressing me out. I mean, today's episode is about how to handle isolation as somebody who's chronically ill. Being in quarantine is a bigger deal and a much more strict necessity when dealing with an immunosuppressed state. I want to talk to these people who are freaking out and kind of be like on some hipster, echo part. Nah, I knew them since SoundCloud, Bandcamp, MySpace. Like, immunosuppression has been a part of my life for over a third, maybe close to half of my life at this point. And you just have to do it. You just have to be careful. And then, after you lose your mind and you realize you are in a world that is uncontrollable, you take every precaution and you calm the fuck down. And I'm waiting for everybody to get to that point. Like, where they're just like, oh, okay, breathing deep. It's gonna be all right. I don't know what it's going to take to get there, but I have a couple of tips for my people who are chronically ill, who are going to make this work for them. Not because it's the best, not because it's best for everyone else, but because it's what they have to do for their own survival, period. Let's put the wine down. It's not necessary. Don't worry. We did that earlier. It's okay. What is required? First, wear your goddamn mask. People are going to look at you funny. They'll make comments about how you're overreacting. I really want to make t-shirts that say, relax, I'm immunosuppressed. It's not about you. Let's take it all out there. Forget about I'm immunosuppressed. You don't deserve an explanation. It is relax, it's not about you. Period. I've been doing this. I believe I can post a picture to Instagram. Maybe I'll insert it here March 5th, March 9th. Like, before we were on voluntary self-quarantine, I was walking around with my bait mask. Yeah, did I drop that brand? Go ahead, take a moment, pick it up. Yeah. Because I had it bought for me when I had a kidney transplant 2.5 years ago. I've been to the hospital because somebody's kid gave them a flu at work. Like, this is real for our existence, and I've been dealing with it for a long time as somebody who hasn't had the luxury of working at home. So, yeah, this is not just the way it is, it's what I do. And if it looks extreme to you, I'm sorry, but like I said, it's not about you. I'm not sick in a way that I'm going to spread something, but if it works in your advantage for them to stay away, say thank you and move on. Wash your hands 1,000,000 times. Everybody should be doing that, you especially. And if anything, I'm positive you already have in your head the passage of germs. You know how it works, where certain things, viruses, germs, bacteria, live on smooth surfaces. Porous surfaces, not so much. Mail is somewhat excluded. I've read already that most packaging cannot hold the coronavirus for enough time for it to be transferred. But do I still take that mail, open it up, remove the packaging, take that, put it in recycling, and wash my hands? Absolutely, because I'm not here to make mistakes. I think next up, and I think this is number 3, the people who live with you are going to suffer through this with you. And that's where it gets to be a little bit of a struggle. I've lived by myself for a long time, and it's been kind of awesome, especially while I've been immunosuppressed or dealing with kidney failure, etc., etc. And in the times where I was in really dirty circumstances, gross circumstances, places that I know weren't necessarily good for me, like when I first moved to Cali and I lived in one of those bunk beds, $600 a bed, 5 beds to a room deals. Yeah, those bathrooms were disgusting. And did I have house slippers that I kept in my bed practically because there was no real common space? Yes. Did I have a carrier case that I washed every time I was in there, cleaned out every time with disinfectant? Absolutely. Did I? So once again, this isn't new, but to your partner, it might be new. You are not on self-quarantine. You are on a highly recommended isolation. That means very little to no contact to other human beings. That means very little to no leaving your house. That means, yeah, you're going to wear your gloves everywhere you go, and yeah, you're going to wear that mask, and yeah, you're going to get shit from other people, and it's going to suck, and I'm sorry. But unfortunately, that means that it's going to be the same for your partner, because your partner bringing in those germs means you're exposed to it, and this is supposed to be your clean, safe space. So, buckle up, sweetie. This is what we're doing. Explaining that to a partner is not always easy. It's not always fun, and it's not always an easy transition to make. But it's what has to happen. I also quickly just wanted to, come on here, get it together. Live with me, live for me. Okay. I just wanted to throw into, just in case I didn't quite finish off the area where we talked about dealing with your partner or having somebody who's not chronically ill and yet cohabitating while in isolation/quarantine. I saw a really interesting YouTube video this morning about a woman who is going through breast cancer, and she's currently on oral chemotherapy by mouth. So she's, instead of going through the IV version of chemotherapy, it's an oral chemotherapy. She has actually moved out of her house because she has kids and a husband. We're going in and out to get food, not being able to have it delivered, or that would be too much, or it'd be a lot. Not having kids that are in a controlled environment, and kids are just, is the word harbinger? They're just little crates of germs. Oh, I don't know how you guys procreate, but ugh. She ended up moving into the guest house of one of her best friends. Her family comes over, they stay 10 feet apart, they'll have a glass of wine on the lawn, on different sides of the lawn. It's wonderful when you get to that point where you have a partner who understands, and also it is, please understand, I am perfectly aware that it is a privilege to have somebody who has a guest house that you can stay in, where they'll bring your groceries if you need it, or your mail, while she works from there, while we go through this quarantine. Trust me, I understand, but I think you have to also comprehend how imperative it is that you protect yourself by any means necessary. If that means locking yourself down in a room, if that means, and I'm referring especially to people who are more immunosuppressed than I even would be. On anti-rejection drugs, my immune system is blocked so that my body will not fight the kidneys that I have right now. But on, let's say, chemo, your whole immune system has been completely flattened. So there's levels to this. Lupus with an autoimmune disease, it varies so much person by person. It is, once again, imperative that you know your body, understand your pathology, and are able to make appropriate steps for what is necessary for you. And I know that there will be people who will have to literally lock themselves off in a room, and people can only enter with their full mask, etc. I really suggest, and I'll try to show some of the videos I've seen on YouTube of like couples who've had to do this and have found alternatives. And And one of them, I believe, the woman eventually had to be hospitalized, but they were so good with keeping her. She had caught COVID-19, and she was in bed. They were separated. She kept the room separate. He came in and cleaned the room. He had a full bodysuit. He never caught it. She did eventually recover after being hospitalized, but I think you just have to be extremely aware and extremely understanding and know that this is important for you, your health, and also the health of the people around you. Okay, that's it. Just jumped in to say that. The next thing, how are you going to fill up your time? Now, once again, MySpace days. I've been here, done that. I got hobbies, boo. I like to read. I got podcasts. Yo, I'm learning makeup. Not well, but trying. So, do it. I've taken to making gross outfits out of everything in my closet. Do I have 2 or 3 cheetah print outfits or pieces? Yeah, let's wear them all together. What does it look like? Instagram. I apologize to my Instagram followers. It's at cashmerejasmine.com if you'd like to. .com. Just at cashmerejasmine. Moving on. Keep it going. I have bought a couple of palettes. Once again, my significant other is not excited with the amount of shimmer. And I believe they are orange, bright red, bright yellow, and something nude glitter. And is he excited about any of those? Not even a little. Not even a little. But you know what? We're here to share this. This is my outlet. I'll take the one nude palette I have and put on a little and walk out the door so that he doesn't have to feel like he needs to disown me. Or worry that, people will wonder about my mental health. It's fine. Just because I'm an artist and they don't get it, it's fine. I'm trying that nude palette. That don't even show up on camera. It don't even show up on camera. I don't like it. I gotta go look like a person now. An artist. And I'm sensitive about my art. Erykah Badu. Go listen to it. I will. Alright. Is this what you want? So, moving from there, that's what I'm trying to do. Things I enjoy doing. I started making videos. I hate recording when other people are here. That is really hard on quarantine and isolation with a partner. It sucks. It's terrible. It's the worst. It's so hard. But you're making it work. So not everybody's making, or I should say, so everybody's making compromises for this whole world to exist. And it's weird, and it's stressful, and it's awkward, and it just has to happen. So, if you're ready for this, and you are comfortable, or if you're prepared to at least take it on, I think you'll be good with making these changes to your life as necessary. The last and I think is the most important is that you're in touch with your doctor. I know what it's like to have doctors or practitioners that are not particularly reachable, that are not particularly responsive, and that you have to kind of man up and maybe kick and scream a little bit because the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and that's just what I've learned over 10 years of dealing with this. And do I try to take it from a perspective of being genteel, but making sure they understand that their license would be in jeopardy if they were to ignore me? Yeah. And let me show you a couple phrases real quick. One of my favorites are, I'd hate to have spoken to you and already talked about the potential for a fever or hospitalization, and I not received the medication that I needed. Context. UTIs happen a lot when you have had kidney failure. Period. It's a very susceptible part of your body, and your whole immune system is totally suppressed after having a transplant. So little things that most people will be able to throw off, I'm going to get a UTI, I'll get a flu, and those can be taken care of with medication. But they say, don't call me till you have a fever. By the time I have a fever, it's out of control. I'm going through the emergency room and I'm sitting in a hospital bed, and not a nice hospital bed, like the group hospital bed with like the homeless people who cycle through it on the weekends. No, sweetie. So I had to let him know the next time when I realized I was just being put on general antibiotics and monitored. Hey, boo, if you want me to call you every 4 hours with a blood pressure and a temperature, I will do that. But you're going to give me the medication to administer at home because I will not go through that. Hell, my insurance will be happy to have not gone through that. And so that is what I am aiming to do. And it's simply putting it in those words that sometimes wake people up to realize that you're not here to play. I mean, just truth be told, one thing all doctors are afraid of: malpractice. My eyes feel so naked. I feel naked. I need more eyeshadow. And this is what you're here to make happen. And that you're not after them. You're just not going to be left in a position where you're not in control. So in this particular circumstance, you might have to be the squeaky wheel. Make sure they remember you're alive. Make sure they know what's going on. If you happen to get symptoms, you need to make sure you are heard, and repeatedly, whether it means calling not 1, but 2, but 3 or 4 times, and saying it in just that way. I'm having a low-grade fever and a dry cough, and it seems to be going up every 3 to 4 hours. I hate to have contacted you and not gotten the okay to go ahead and get a test for COVID-19. That is the way I would word it, to make sure they understood that this documented communication could look really bad on you if something terrible were to happen to me. Not threatening. Do I sound like a mobster? I don't mean to sound like a mobster. I have my space. I've been handling this for a minute, and sometimes you just have to be heard. And eventually, I know I have finally found medical staff that not only appreciate that type of communication, they know I don't come to them with any dumb shit, and they know that I am responsible and aware and on top of what's going on with me medically, and I don't bother them unless there's a problem and you need to take note, and I need you to involve yourself in this situation. So that's, I guess, all I have to say for dealing with COVID-19, isolation, quarantine, as somebody with chronic illness. I hope I hit the 10-minute mark. That was the goal, but this was really fun and fast, and I'm hoping I don't do much editing. It's gonna be really cool. I'm really